Boo. What? Hello. Wait. I'm also watching Owen's stream right now. I see some of you also in Owen's stream. I'm also watching, but I gotta click off. No, I gotta start my own. Oh, I'm so proud of him though. I'm so happy for him. He has his first year anniversary of streaming. I'm just watching him. Okay, I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna mute. I don't want to, but I gotta. But we'll give him a shout out. Shout out to Owen Aeon, if you guys don't know who I'm talking about. He is a fellow Randonite streamer. He's currently celebrating his first year of streaming. He did a lot too. He did a lot within that 1 year. Man, what's up with my voice? I literally 30 minutes ago, no, I guess like 45 minutes ago, just got back from the office. So, I didn't even talk that much today though, so I don't know. But yeah, hello everyone, hello, how you guys doing? Hello. Okay, let's do our hellos, even though I did some in chat already. And then we'll yap first, and then we'll do our watch along. I want to yap for maybe like 30 minutes or so, at least until Beans gets back from class. Because I low-key want to ask him if he has food. Because I ate this morning. I ate breakfast this morning, but I haven't eaten since then, and I looked in the fridge, and we're definitely an ingredient household. Like, there's plenty of ingredients, but there's no prepped meals. There is prepped meals, but it's also stuff that me and Beans can't have. It's like chicken, you know? So I'm hoping that Beans will be like, oh, who wants Chipotle? And I'll be like, me, I want Chipotle. So, yeah. Okay, so we got Saribot here, we got Peck School, we got Sotenbori. Hello, you guys got your stickers. Hey, Poland, you're the first green name in chat. You got that. Folk, hello. Welcome. Rin, hello. Saku, hello. Seishun, hello. Welcome. Nice. You guys are just in time for class. So, oh, you know what? I almost forgot, but I almost pressed the button to get to the classroom before I set up my tracking. I need to set up my tracking, and then we're gonna go over there. But also, okay, I was listening to my VODs recently, and I know that my volume's been pretty low, so do let me know if that is still the case, if I can bump up the volume. But for now, let's get to class. Hello everyone, hello. Uh-oh. Don't tell me my model's already lagging even though we just started. No one else is even in the house right now. No one else is using the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi. So you know why. Pourquoi. And let me just play with my face. Yeah, it still seems a little bit laggy. Just the teensiest bit. I'm like, I'm wondering if I should just switch to PNGTuber again. Hello, Alpaca. Hello. Welcome. We're gonna be doing a watch along today. So hello, everyone. Hello. It's me, Babinka Bear, your local sun bear, an art history teacher, and educational streamer. And today we're gonna be doing another watch along. This is the second watch along. Let's play some music. What's this one? Across the Bay. Oh, we got beach noises. The thing is, I like using my Live 2D model. It's just like something's always up with the tracking. And don't get me wrong, that's never anything on like on whoever rigged it, which is Big Ham by the way, or the artist. That's something on my end. I'm pretty sure it's like my Wi-Fi, because I'm using a phone that's connected via Wi-Fi. And I like using this model because it's the most expressive. Now, actually, arguably, the 3D model is also pretty expressive as well, but I don't like it. Before I interrupt actual lesson, do you have a list somewhere of all the possible foods you have in your redeem? I don't have a list, but I can prep one. It's no, actually, you know what? I have like the file names. I have the file names, but I can make it into a list. Oh, this is like future funk. this music. Give me a second to find that folder. Should be under assets. My sniffer stickers. Sniffer. There we go. Got Buko pandan, cassava cake, champurrado. You know what? I should actually write this down, huh? Instead of just saying it out loud. How about this? I'll keep the window up so that when I end stream today, I'll remember to make it into a list. And then I can post it either the next time I stream or on the Discord if you're on the Discord, but if not, no worries. I've never had Filipino food and you really made me want to try all these new things. Aww. I'm glad. Yeah, Filipino food's really good. All of the stickers are sweets though. They're sweets. So, oh, you know what? I wonder if my lag is because I have so many. Oh, I forgot to post that I'm live. Oopsie poopsie. Post. There we go. Oh yeah, so all of the stickers are based off sweet treats. So I have been also thinking of like, there's also a lot of like really good savory Filipino food too. I don't know if you have like any Filipino restaurants in your area, but there's just so much. There's just so much that I love in terms of like Filipino food, especially like there's one called pancit. It's kind of like stir-fried noodles. What else? Kare kare if you like peanut butter and you're not opposed to having it on meat. Not necessarily peanut butter, but it's a stew made of oxtail with like a peanut sauce. So it's not peanut butter, but like a lot of people kind of compare it to that. Pancit, my beloved, yeah. After stream, see if there's some kind of high frame rate setting with your live 2D. You might want to turn it off. I had to do that recently for Warudo. Maybe. I'll check it out. I'm definitely more of a savory guy, but I love having a sweet treat every now and then, even if it's not overly rich. Yeah, so in terms of richness, then maybe avoid kare kare because it's very rich. But if you want something light, I was just talking about sinigang last stream, the sour soup. That one is nice and light in my opinion. It is sour, so if you're not used to something like tom kha in like Thai food, that might also be a little bit much, but we do have light food. I need to actually think of it. But yeah, there's lots of really good Filipino food out there, but the sweet treats, they're really good. Kare kare looks interesting. I've only had oxtail Jamaican style. Yo, I've never had Jamaican food. I'm actually would be interested in that. Sorry, I'm just fixing my seat. Yeah, I don't know if I can say that I've ever had Jamaican food. Jamaican me crazy. But I would Jamaican oxtail to die for. Oh man. The only thing is, do they have any like pescatarian stuff? Because like that's the big thing with me is that I'm pescatarian. Oh, you know what? I realized that the stickers are being hidden accidentally. I'm gonna put this maybe here. Heaven, lightly spicy, very savory. They do have a fried snapper dish. Let's go! That sounds good. I love spicy food. I do have to like, I can't eat it as much as I like because my tummy has aged alongside me, so I can't handle it anymore. I do love savory foods too. Like, just thinking about that. I was thinking about getting Thai food right after work today. Like, I literally just got back home like 45 minutes ago. I was just craving something savory, but my doctor has been telling me, he's been really on my butt about it, that I really have to avoid a lot of oily foods. So I'm basically gonna do what Beans does. Beans is kind of sort of on a diet. He tries to well, he's already vegan, but he's also trying to avoid foods with a lot of oil and sugar, which I think is pretty good, you know? It's just hard, especially if you're vegan, right? So but I'm trying to follow along with that, except, you know, I have a little bit more leeway, so I can eat fish and eggs and fish. So, but what he does is he has a cheat meal every now and then. So like once a week we'll like go out to eat. So I'm thinking of doing something like that too. I feel like it'll make the meals a little bit more delicious, you know? Where it's like if I abstain from eating anything that's too oily or too sweet, then when I have that cheat meal, it'll be all the more delicious. At least that's the mindset. That's the idea. So we'll see. We'll see if I actually am able to like stick to it, because I haven't been the best with diets in general, but I do want to. There's only so many times that my doctor can like prescribe me medicine, or medication. He already got me on the like blood pressure stuff, the cholesterol stuff. I'm also taking something from the OBGYN, so all that and more. Snapper Escovitch. I'm gonna Google that. Oh, no, just on the other window. Here we go. Snapper Escovitch. Jamaican Escovitch fried red snapper. Now I'm like wondering if there's like Jamaican places near me. Okay, Jamaican. Actually, I'll look later. The music is a bit louder? Ah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, let me put it down. There we go. I think I also need to start putting myself a little bit higher too. So let me actually increase my gain. Give me a second. Okay, testing. I don't know if that actually did anything. But if anything, I'll also increase my gain on OBS as well. Let's do 5.5. Hopefully that's not too loud. That's not too ear-piercing. But do let me know. I think it's real easy to have food that's delicious and not too oily. Day 2 of this diet's going great. Can't wait to have my cheat meal at the end of the week. And a whole 30 minutes later, you scrapped on a whole tray of lumpia. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's also like rough because, like I said, I live with Beans and his family. A friend of mine told me this. I feel like all households are either ingredient households or snack households. I grew up in a snack household. There was always a snack to be had. My dad loves cooking, so there was always like, some kind of breakfast in the kitchen. So there's always like eggs, and the thing is, like, I'm in a big family too. I have like 5 other siblings. So, oh wait, I'm the 5th one. Like, no, I get confused because I also have half siblings. So I think in total, like, the total of us is, wait, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 of, no. 1, 2, 3 half siblings, myself, my little brother, my other little brother, my little sister. There's 7 of us total. There you go. 7 of us total. But I grew up with my 2 younger brothers and my younger sister. So my dad always cooks enough for the whole family, and there's always like a surplus of food, and I just miss like going downstairs and already having like fried rice and like eggs and sausages already, And now it's like, now I'm an adult. Now I have to cook for myself. I have to cook for myself, or I have to ask Beans if I'm busy. So I grew up spoiled. I'll say that much. I feel like I grew up spoiled, and it kind of feels nice whenever I go visit my dad, or both my parents rather. I go visit, and there's just always food. There's always food in the kitchen. There's always rice in the rice cooker. There's always like eggs on the table, So it's just chilling there underneath that little like mosquito blocker thingy. See, big sis Bibinka. Yeah, I'm the big sister. I have older half siblings, but I didn't grow up with them, so I grew up as the the stereotypical like first daughter. Like, also helping with taking care of the kiddos when they're still babies, so that's that was my experience. I feel like I didn't go like that stereotypical experience of being like the eldest daughter. It doesn't reach all the way deep for me because my mom still mostly took care of like my siblings, and I just kind of like assisted. I was just like the support. Like, I didn't really change diapers that much. I just like when my mom was tired, I would just like give my younger siblings like the bottle, right? The baby bottle. I would like pat them on the butt so that they would go to bed. It was my mom and dad that was like dealing with the... Oh, you know what? I see that the mic is getting into the red area. So now I'm getting scared that my mic is peaking. So let me put it back down. maybe here we go, 6.2. But yeah, it was my mom and dad that would deal with like the sleepless nights, right? Like the baby monitor. They're the ones that had to wake up at all hours of the night and like take care of my younger siblings while I was snoring peacefully. Well, I don't really snore, but I was sleeping peacefully in my own room, right? Actually, I did share a room with them up until I was like a teenager, but yeah, so I grew up more or less pretty spoiled, and even though I helped take care of my siblings, it wasn't to the extent as other eldest daughters might do, right? But anyway, yeah, I just kind of miss like my dad just having food already out, right? He doesn't quite do it as much because he also has a job now at the grocery store. Good sis, good sis. I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so. I assume that I was a decent sister. I haven't asked my younger siblings, but I assume. I assume I'm a good sister because my little brother, Ashano, he also streams occasionally, once in a blue moon. My sibling, my brother Ashano, he will stream as well. Every time I give him a gift, he never throws it away. Like I made like when I was learning how to crochet, I made little plushies. I think also when I was learning how to sew. Yeah, that's right. When I was like in my 20s, I had this whole arc of me trying to learn how to like make plushies. It was because I was into little known series called Homestuck. And someone posted like a sewing pattern to make a plushie of one of the little like characters. It was like a dragon. I forgot what they were actually called. Scalemates, I think. Someone posted the pattern and like the instructions on how to make it into a plushie. I followed the instructions and I made my first plushie. And I was like, oh man, this is so sick. I wanna make more, you know? So I ended up making a plush. It was really badly made. I wish I could like show you guys a picture, but I made an Angry Birds plushie because this was at like the height of like Angry Bird mania, like people actually liking and playing like the Angry Birds like app game, right? So I made the green one. I I made an Angry Bird. I made a plushie of the Angry Bird. So it was it was the green one. It was the green Angry Bird. I made a plushie and I gave it to my little brother. I gave it to Ashiano. Tetradoxic, hello. We're doing a little yapping before we do our watch along. Well, hello. Yeah, so in my 20s, I learned how to make plushies. They weren't well made, but it was something. I gave one to my little brother, and to this day, he still has it. And I also would give him little like crochet gifts when I was learning how to crochet a couple years ago as well. So I gave all of that to him, and like every now and then when I visit him, he still lives with my parents. So every day now and then when I visit my family, I go upstairs and I like go into his room just to bug him. Just to annoy him, and I'll see all the things that I made for him. He still has the Angry Bird, he still has like the crochet stuff, and then they look kind of derpy though, like they're not very well made. So I was even telling him like you can give that away if you want, you can donate it if you want. He's like, nah, I'm good. So that's one thing, but apparently my mom was even like, oh, you have so many plushies, you know, like you have so many plushies on your bed, you can't even like you know, a good 50% of your bed is just taken up by plushies. Like, why don't you ever give them away? Like, and then I think she like pointed to a random one. It happened to be the one that I made. And she was like, why don't you get rid of that? You know, I don't know if she knew that it was mine. And then like my brother, apparently I'm just hearing the story from my mom. So my brother, he like looks at her straight in the eyes and was like, my sister gave that to me. Wait, let me find my toggle. He looks her straight in the eyes and like, why would I throw that away? My sister made that for me. And my mom's like, oh, okay. So yeah, he keeps all the gifts that I give him. I don't know if I actually don't know if the same is true for my other brother and my little sister. Yeah, I actually don't know. I haven't ever checked with them, but I know for sure that at least one of my siblings has kept every single gift that I've given them. Even though I give them my blessing, you know, if they ever need to like declutter. What are we watching? Good evening, George. We're watching Ra, Path of the Sun God. But we're gonna start, you know, maybe like 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes. I just wanna yap. Tuskaru. The hiccup. That's the card that Yugi wins from Merrick. No, that's it's named after actually the card is named after the Egyptian god. For a second I thought you meant like the thumbnail that I made. I was gonna say like, no, that's me. That's a me. It's a me, but Egyptian. You're going to overlap with the event. Oh yeah, that's. Oh no, yeah. If you guys have to click off during that event, feel free. I completely understand. I completely understand. But yeah, I'm gonna keep on going. I might pause here and there during the watch along, but. But yeah, I understand some of you are gonna have to click off in about like, is it right now? Wait, what time is that happening? Let me just type up some things right now. Is it 7:30 or is it wait. Yeah, it's 7:30. Okay, I see. So in like 30 minutes, I think some of you are gonna have to click off. But oh, that's funny. I forgot that I'm like sharing the window. Oopsie boopsie. My older sister would keep testing sewing project. I was trying to sew a perfect round ball. That sounds really difficult. Nothing is happening now. Everything is fine. Don't check your cover corp stocks. Exactly. You shouldn't. No, yeah, tetrodoxic, same. Like I'm hoping my brother won't accidentally find himself on stream right now, but basically like some of the stuff that I gave him was like kind of like not really my test runs, but it was the ones that I was like, I don't know, I don't really like this that much. But I do think I got rid of all my other like plushies that I attempted since then. So he has one of the few Binka originals. He has one of the few Binka original plushies. And maybe I'll get back into making plushies one day when I have the time. But for now, I'm just sticking to either crochet or streaming stuff. So, yeah. You know what? We'll get started in 2 minutes since it's in 2 minutes I would make it like the 30-minute mark. So we'll get started then. But yeah, what was I saying? Out of my siblings, I want to believe I was a good big sis. Sure, the couple of times that my mom tasked me with watching them when they were babies, I might have looked away a couple of times. I might have heard a boom and then crying noises and found them on the floor and maybe panicked. But that was only like a couple times. It wasn't all the time. Binka originals, yes, there's some Binka originals out there in the ether, some plushies that were made by Binka Bear herself. Gosh, I don't know if any of you guys are also like older siblings, or if you've ever like had to babysit for like a cousin or a neighbor or something and you're watching and all it takes is like one look. All it takes is like one look away and then suddenly the baby has rolled off the bed. And you just hear the thump. And you're just like, oh, I'm gonna get spanked. I'm gonna get spanked so bad. I don't mean in like the weird way, in like the adult way. I mean like in the parents spanking their kids. That's the burden as an older sibling. I can't really, cause I'm baby. It's okay. It's okay to be baby. But yeah, that was my experience 3 times, mind you. I have 3 younger siblings. That was my experience 3 times. And I feel like for each and every one of them, there was at least one situation in which I looked away and they rolled off the bed. Luckily, we have carpet. But I would just hear like, ah! Or wait, let me have my toggle. Like, I hear, like, the thump and then just, ah! And then my parents would hear the crying and they'd be like, Beka! Or they'd hit me with the full name. They'd hit me with the full name and they'd be like, Beka Bear! Why is your sibling crying? You want palo? The thing is, I don't think they ever. Okay, we're getting into like weird. We're getting into like weird conversations, but I don't think they actually ever spanked me. I think the threat of getting spanked was usually like enough for me. They would like raise their hand. They would count in Tagalog. They'd be like isa, dalawa, and then I'd be like, oh nope, nope, nope. That was like enough for me. I don't think they ever actually like spanked me, you know? The power of an Asian household. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, I said that we would start soon, right? Okay, let's get started because I know some of you have to click off, but a little bit about what we're watching today. It's a little something called Ra, the Path of the Sun God. And I'm gonna put the link in the chat. But yeah, just a little bit of a introduction to this movie. Oh yeah, let me pin this. There you go. So yeah, a little bit about this film. I know nothing about it. I just so happened to see it on my For You page, but I did look up the synopsis. It is an actual film. It has like a IMDb page. It is about Egyptian mythology and Egyptian religion. So a couple of months ago, I think we watched excuse me. We watched no idea. We watched the Popol Vuh, which is the Maya origin story, and then the Five Sons, which is the Aztec origin story. And what I liked about both those films is that they were made in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, and they had these really cool retro effects to them. This movie, at least from everything that I've scrolled through, looks the same. It looks very similar. It's kind of animated in the style of like ancient Egypt, but with like that cool retro flair. Like if you see what the thumbnail looks like right now, like look up there. Anything that's not me. That like blue figure that's holding up what looks like a boat with like a beetle on it. The whole movie is kind of in that style of like black background and like these neon, you know, line works, you know? So it's animated like that. It seems like it goes over stories from Egyptian mythology, some of which I might have told to you guys before. So if you guys are familiar with the lettuce story, I don't know if they'll cover that in this one. But hello, Killing Vanilla. Hello, we're gonna be doing a little watch along. The link to the video, which as you guys can see on my whiteboard over here, it's about an hour and 10 minutes long. So occasionally I might pause it to like comment on certain things, but otherwise I'm probably just gonna be like commenting as the movie is going along. And then afterwards we'll probably just yap for a little bit and then we'll probably call it after that. Yeah, that's the plan. So it seems like, so to summarize, it's gonna be about Egyptian mythology. It has cool retro vibes. It's about an hour and 11 minutes long. I'm not gonna be showing the video on my screen because I don't want to get copyrighted, but you are gonna be able to see the timer that I'm at so that you can follow along. All right, and I'll even do a little like, well, we'll press play together and we'll react together, okay? I think I did turn off the sound, like the shared sound for the browser, so you shouldn't be able to hear it, so I won't get copyrighted. But yeah, so the link is fully available on YouTube. So if you click that link over there in the pinned comment, you should be good. You'll be copyrighted and feel the wrath of Ra, the curse of Ra! Egyptian hieroglyphs. But yeah, so that's the dealio. There was just a wait, what the heck? I just heard like a crashing noise in the kitchen, but hopefully it's nothing. Killing Vanilla, you got your sticker. Yeah, my model's lagging again. There's definitely something up with the Wi-Fi, but I don't know if I want to switch out. I guess I don't know if I want to switch out. Okay, well, we'll do a switch right now, just real quick. I'm gone. But right as soon as my model is back up, it's Jover. Wait, I'm a fool. I have another model that I can use. One that's a little bit more apt. Give me a second. Load new avatar. Yeah, who did that? Peck School. Yeah, you. I got too excited. I swallowed my saliva. I inhaled it even. Yeah, there we go. We're walking like an Egyptian. There we go. I think this is pretty apt, wouldn't you say? Let me just fix this. There we go. Fix this. Let's freaking go. So many models. You're a real iron mouse over here now. But being chipped. But yeah, okay, this is pretty apt, right? Okay, cool. We're gonna use this model. I'm gonna turn off my tracking right now. I mean, I only have so many models because, for one, I like making my own models, but also we have some generous folks in the audience, right? So, alright, with that, let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. I know some of you might have to click off in about, like, 20 minutes, but, you know, no worries. But otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and click. If you guys want to follow along with the watch-along, go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment. And then I'm gonna press play soon. So we'll do it in trying to like stall for time to make sure that you guys have the link. All right, I'm gonna press play in 5 4 3 2 1. And I know there's a delay, so you guys might have a little bit of delay too, but it's okay. Man, I love this like retro style so much. And it's so colorful too. Ra. Ra, ra, ba, ba. The path of the sun god. I don't even know what the narration is gonna sound like, actually. A vision of ancient Egypt. One. Dawn. The creation. So, I'm assuming they're probably gonna go over, like, creation myths. There's, like, 5 different ones if we're just talking about Egypt. There's one where we're born from frogs, you see. Your eyes? It's very shiny, yeah. It's very neon, right? The noon. I'm gonna put the volume up on mine. Apep. This is like this. That's like the snake that represents chaos, which is like the ultimate like evil in Egyptian mythology. Yeah, it has closed captions. I also kind of needed them. Atum. Oh, so they're going with this mythos. Yeah, there's like 5 different creation stories. Cause like sometimes it's very regional. It's like, oh, in Heliopolis they believe in something different than, say, in Thebes. They're about to get funky. Funky. I'm gonna quickly adjust the something on my screen so you're not gonna see the timestamp, but I'll be back on it. There we go. The oh, be swimming. Scarab beetles were pretty common in Egypt. Oh, he swallowed him! No. So yeah, scarab beetles are pretty common in ancient Egypt, and there's even a sun god. A sun god named Khepri, who is represented by a scarab beetle rolling the sun across the sky. Oh wait, is it Geb? No, it's Shu and Tefnut. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna pause here to give you guys a to give you guys the so this movie I paused at 408. So this movie is giving kind of the PG-13 version of the creation story. A lot of Egyptian mythology is not always PG-13. So if you'll notice Atum, the first thing he created was the air and the moisture. In some versions of the mythos, he oh, it's gonna get funnier. It's gonna get funnier than Death Nut. um but yeah, Shu, which is the air, and then Tough Nut, who is the moisture. So in one version of the myth, Atum is actually all alone in the noon, which is their word for chaos within like kind of the void. So Atum's all by himself, and the first thing he does is he starts jorking it. And by it I mean his peanuts. And out of that act of creation comes moisture, Shu, oh no, Tefnut, and air. So yeah, Shu and Tefnut, like in certain versions of this mythology, are yeah, he's jorking Tefnut. Classic creation mythos. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, so this isn't the only instance in which like, you know, they mention like masturbation as like an act of creation, but that is the first in this story. Peanuts. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and play it again. Or sorry, I'm gonna press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, like, Sultan Body, thank you for the sub. You get peanuts. Oh my gosh, that's like killing me. You gifted us up to peanuts. Peanuts. Thank you, Sultan Body. You're the realist. So now we're seeing Shu and Tough Nut. They're just hanging out. You know, they're just vibing. Oh, we're zooming into the eye. Which that eye, I don't know if they're gonna go into that shape and why it looks like that and what that symbol is, but it is a very important Egyptian symbol. Sometimes Tefnut is also shown as a lion, or she has like a lion head. Not always, um but sometimes. This animation is so sick. The eye. Yeah, sometimes his eye just goes around and does stuff. That does happen in other mythos concerning there's like a lion goddess named Sekhmet. I think there's something with that. So yeah, sometimes his eye just be doing things. Oh, they got transformed into, is that the cobra and the vulture? No, that's just symbols for them. Okay, cool. I would definitely fall asleep to the lull of the narrator, music, and visual in a dimly lit classroom. Yeah, you could definitely like imagine that. Even though our classroom is Egypt themed right now, I feel like I should eventually make a little setup where it's like playing on a VHS, dim lights, you know, and you guys are just on your desk, you know, nodding off. I'm gonna mute for just a second. You keep on watching. Oh no. People in the comments are saying how fascinating and complicated this kind of animation was in the 80s. Yeah, actually. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, like this is all in the shape of, or sorry, in the style of like ancient Egyptian drawings, but the way that they're animating like the arms and all of this kind of stuff, especially with that repeating pattern in the back. Cuz this was made in 1990. This is the year I was born. Whoa, Technicolor. Bennu. Tron but make it ancient Egypt. Yeah, definitely. Oh, this is beautiful. I'm actually not sure if they're combining different different stories together. Oh. Oh, that's Kepri, I think. That's the rising sun. And I think that's Ra. Yeah, so they're showing, so yeah, there's different iterations of the sun god in Egypt. There were many. So there's Amun, Amun Ra, there's Kepri. Wow. Gave rise. Okay, so that's what I meant. Is that so? What's funnier than Tefnut? His daughter, Nut, or her daughter, Nut. Okay, I'm gonna pause shortly. Okay, I'm gonna pause right here on 9:32 to talk a little bit more about that. So, yeah, so Shu and Tefnut, the air and the moisture, they gave birth to another set of children. So this is Geb and Nut or Newt. Newt Newt. So Geb is the Earth Father, and then Nut is the Sky Mother, which you actually in other mythos, in other like mythologies, you actually don't see that often. Usually, you see the Earth is shown as the mother figure, and the sky is the father figure. So, for example, in Greek mythology, Zeus is usually also called like the Sky Father, and Gaia is like the Earth Mother, right? Newt, like the clay penguin. Like the newt of the exactly. So actually, like in ancient Egypt, like it's flipped. It's you have your sky mother and your earth father. And then one thing that I wanted to mention is once again they're being definitely a lot more poetic with how they show like I guess sexuality and like fertility and creation. So once again, you know, Shu and Tefnut were created by masturbation. Here they do say that Geb and Nut are, you know, they're conceiving children. They're having the smecks, you know, they're having the smecks. And they mention here, the last thing that they said before I paused it, is that the 5 children couldn't be born until they were separated by Shu, the heir. The reason for that is basically Geb and Nut were, you know, they're going at it. They're having the sex. They were doing it so much that the kids could not exit from the womb because there was something in the way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I mean? And by it I mean peanuts. So the children literally could not exit the womb because they were going at it. The sex drive too strong. Yes. Yeah, the sex drive was so strong that their kids literally could not exit until their father, until the heir itself was like, no, like, you guys have to stop. You guys have to stop, I tell you. And that's what we're seeing here on the screen right now is their father like physically separating them, which is also the Egyptian explanation as to like why there's air in between the land and the sky. Shu is chill. He's like, chill, man, chill. And I don't know if they're gonna go over it here as well. Hello, Glitch Mushroom. Hello. I don't know if they're also gonna go over it here, but there's also a story in which the son forbade Newt from giving birth to the 5 children. He said something like, "You will not give birth as long as I shine on the land." But they found a kind of a loophole. Not a loophole, but basically there was another god who challenged him to a duel. That's right, a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. No, not a Yu-Gi-Oh duel. It was like a board game called Senet. And I believe he another god like won 5 times. Sex will find a way. So this other god challenged the sun god to like a board game. He won 5 times, and then the sun god was like, all right, so because you won 5 times, I'll grant 5 extra days on the calendar, and that's when Newt can give birth to her 5 children. So that is the Egyptian explanation as to why a year is 365 days as opposed to 360 days, because 360 would make sense. It, like, you know, that's the circumference of a circle or whatever. 360 makes sense, but why then is it 365 days to orbit, for the Earth to orbit the sun? So that was kind of their explanation. And you actually see this also in Maya religion. They also have an explanation for those 5 extra days, but for them those days are unlucky. In Egypt, those 5 days are festival days. So I don't know if I could say that they're lucky, but people celebrated those 5 extra days at the end of the year. So okay. With that, we'll go ahead and resume where we're at. So for those who just joined us, go ahead and you want to follow along, go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment, in the pinned chat message. We're starting from 9:32. You should be seeing a couple being separated by their father on the screen. So let's go ahead and continue on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. The Star Children. Are you talking about mythology? Yeah, I am. So we're doing a watch along right now. So feel free to click on the link, and the timestamp that we're on is on the screen right now. Set. I love Set. He's the god of chaos, but he's the homeboy. I think he's funny. Not the he didn't even do the T pose, he did the triangle pose. Dude, oh my god, why is Isis doing that? Why is she gyrating towards him? The villain arc, yeah. So yes, if you're keeping track, this is actually the 3rd couple that is not only siblings but also a couple. Oh, okay, they're not going PG-13. They're just showing it. they're just showing it. Okay. Full of seeds. This is in fact how sex works. Did you guys know that? when she nourished the seeds, right? That's how sex works. We're doing hardcore nudity. We're here what we came for, right? I love these animations. She's like a ballet dancer. Oh yeah, so Osiris also represented like fertility. Osiris is generally known as like the well, I won't spoil anything right now, but he was known as like a god of fertility, and him having sex with Isis, his wife, was seen as like the Nile River kind of nourishing the seeds and nourishing like the life on the land itself. So they did see sex as like a also very symbolic of like how the Nile nourishes like the surrounding lands. I love the little foot movements. It's like so ballet. Okay, but where's Set? I bet he's into some freaky ish. He's the way that he just came down. The way that he just came down into frame. He's like a helicopter. He was a helicopter. Oh Jesus. He's just like blah. So yeah, there's a lot of dualities in Egyptian religion, in Egyptian mythology. So one of the things is they would refer to fertile land as Kemet, which is also what they refer to their own land. So Kemet actually means black earth, black because it's like inundated with water. So it's fertile. But then the duality to that, the other part of that is a land called Desheret, which is where we get our modern day word desert. So that literally refers to the desert or the dry land or like the not fertile land. So Osiris presided over Kemet, the fertile land, and his brother Set presided over the desert, Desheret. Crack open a cold one with the students. That was Beans. He popped open a cold one. Well, he came down like a chaos fairy. That's how I want to be like coming down and greeting you guys from now on. I'll just be like, wait, hello students. How are you guys today? Alpaca says hi, Beans.
Hello.
I overlooked the fact that they're calling him the Lord of the Corn. I don't know if they had corn in this part of the world. Oh yeah, they're definitely they're making his death a little bit more symbolic because in the original myth, he straight up just cut up his body. But now here they're saying that like, oh, he's the Lord of Corn. They cut him up as, you know, the Lord of Corn. It's like, nah, he chopped up that dead body. Like Wait, is that what I think it is? It is. So yeah, Osiris his corpse was cut up. And they found every single piece except for one. You might be able to guess which one that one was. It was eaten by a fish. He's being so dying. Yeah, they gathered up like his chopped up corpse, except for the peanuts. And hello, beeplebees. Peter Griffin's chin is a precious gem. Beeplebees, hello. We're watching some Egyptian mythology, some retro Egyptian mythology. I'm sorry, beeplebees. The link, if you want to follow along, is in the pinned chat message. We're currently at 15 minutes and 50 seconds. You got your sticker. So far, we talked a lot about peanuts and sex. Because it's relevant to, you know, it's relevant to Egyptian mythology. Someone fled the classroom. I mean the Nile? No, don't do it. You guys are so soluble. Oh my gosh. She's doing exactly what you think she's doing, by the way. She found life into Oh, we have an ad break coming up. I'll also summarize a little bit of the stories so far. because yeah, they're making a lot of the more like oh they're freaking going at it. They're going at it. I paused right now at 16 minutes 50 seconds. By the way, sorry, I should have like announced it, but I'm at 16 minutes 50 seconds. The scene on the screen is exactly what you think it is. Nothing stops fertility. But yeah, when we come back, I'll talk a little bit more about that story because there are some things that not necessarily glossed over, but they definitely wanted to make it a little bit more poetic and artsy. And PG-13, I want to say. So we'll put you guys over in the cub corner, and then I'll see you guys in about 3 minutes. Now be good. Be good to Egyptian Binka. I'm walking like an Egyptian. It's the same sex scene again. They just don't stop, these two. They just don't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Alright, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Yeah, I'll be back in a couple more minutes. I'm watching the exact video you think I'm watching. Dang. Man. I wish her the best. I wish her the best. She sounds really sad. It was like, what, 4.5 years? Like 4.5 years, right? Dang, I still remember the... Ah! Should we be back in the classroom right now? Yeah, we should. um... Oh, I'm not watching the Egyptian one. I'm watching another video. I was watching a very well-known VTuber has just announced that she'll be graduating. So so man, good luck to her. Hey guys, I just discovered this Indian church. Yeah, I think you guys should check out. There's no guarantee though that she'll come back. It could be like a similar situation with like Mume, right? Where like her PL I wouldn't say too soon. It's just more of like there's no guarantee. No, actually, if the reason that she's okay, I won't talk about this too much. You mean yeah, exactly. I wonder how she's taken everything. Gargura's #1 fan. So yeah, I won't take away too much time because I do want to get back to the watch along, but I guess since the reason is different, her reason for leaving is different, maybe she will go back to streaming as another identity, but it also seems like she might be burnt out. So I wouldn't be surprised if she like took a little bit of a break before coming back. Teacher watching videos and slacking off in class? Crazy? No. Dang it. No, see, we're watching together. We're watching together. We still have lots of movie left, and there's already been like 2 sex scenes and like a masturbation scene. All right, to summarize what we watched so far of Ra, the Path of the Sun God, in these past 16 minutes. So there was chaos, and then this one lonely god created 2 other gods by jorking it, and by it I mean his peanuts, and then those 2 gods ended up making their own 2 gods, and they went at it so hard that that their kids couldn't be born. And I'm tired of living historical moments. The life of a millennial slash Gen Xer slash Gen Zoomer. So, let's see. So, oh yeah, the 5 children that were born. They don't go into who the. Did they say who the 5th child is? Because the 5 children of Nut and Geb, the sky and the earth, are Osiris, Isis, Nephthys, and Set. So those are 4 of them. And then there's a 5th one named Horus the Elder, who I don't know. He's kind of Kaworu was the 5th child exactly. Exactly. Boy, do I miss Evangelion. Anyway, the 5th one, Hugo, the evil twin of Bart, or the good twin rather. So yeah, the fifth child is named Horus the Elder, but it's only because it's a spoiler on who Horus the Younger is. But so far they mentioned that Set was jealous of his brother Osiris. So Osiris, he became kind of king of the gods. He became like the lord of fertility. Both of his sisters, Nephthys and Isis, loved him, right? But he took Isis as the wife, and Set took Nephthys as his wife. But Set was jealous of all that power, so he concocted a plan to kill Osiris, basically. Eva is over! It's so Eve over. So in this version, they make it very poetic and you know, show him as like a bunch of grains growing. Almontes, hello, welcome. We're doing a watch along of this cool 1990 film called Ra, the Path of the Sun God. The link is in the pinned comment or pinned chat. And we're currently at 650, but I'm taking a pause to kind of go over like the story so far, as well as like go a little bit like more into, I guess, like the changes that they make, because they definitely make it a little bit more PG-13. They don't make a lot of the references to like sex and masturbation as they do in the original mythology, probably because they want this to be like edutainment, right? It makes sense. 650 or 1650? It should be 1650. Sorry if I misspoke, but yeah, 1650. Hey guys, I just discovered this independent anime called Gundam GQ. Anyone want to watch it? I actually would be down. But so yeah, you have the four siblings. So you have Set and Nephthys are one couple, and then you have Osiris and Isis are another couple. And I think I was also mentioning how when the Nile River would flood the earth around it and cause plants to grow, that was also seen as kind of like almost like a sex, or like the act of that and the act of sex were usually seen as like synonymous with one another. So oh, for sure, American retellings of other culture stories are 90% of the time less sexual. Yeah, and like it also is just like a different context too, because like the sexuality that you see in a lot of like Egyptian stories is also very heavily symbolic. And I have no doubt that the Egyptians were also kinky. There actually is evidence of like ancient Egyptian porn where like where like they would depict like certain figures with like huge its, and by its I mean peanuts. Like, so they were definitely kinky as heck. And they also even had like their own forms of like birth control and, you know, abortion pills and all of that kind of stuff, and condoms. So they were definitely kinky, but it is also important to take note that a lot of like the sex stuff that's mentioned in these stories is also very heavily symbolic. Love how it took us an hour and 13 minutes to get to 16 minutes. It's cause I yap. It's cause I yap so much. I just remember going to Hindu temples from the 700s and such that, yeah, that had pornographic carvings. Oh yeah, exactly. So, even right now at 1650, we're looking at Isis and Osiris. So yeah, Set, and Osiris are also create like a duality. There's a lot of dualities in Egyptian religion. So I had mentioned that there's Kemet or Hemet, which is the black earth, and black because it's like inundated with water, so therefore it's fertile. And then you have Desheret, which is the red earth or the red land, and Desheret is actually where our word desert comes from. So he Set was he presided over the desert, and Osiris presided over the fertile land. Teacher's very knowledgeable. I enjoy listening to sharing additional context and facts. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I'm glad that you find this interesting and not just like, teacher, get on with the movie. So there's that. There's a lot of dualities, and that's one of them. Another duality that you might see later on is yes, actually, Almontes, I was just about to get to that. So yeah, there's Ma'at, which is this concept of order but also justice. It's like its own word that has some different connotations. So like order, justice, you're probably gonna see Ma'at also as her own goddess. The duality with that is chaos, who is usually represented by a serpent. Earlier in this film, there was a serpent named Apep, and the Greek name is Apophis. So it's this serpent that represents chaos. And it's kind of like if I were to say like the villain, quote unquote, of like Egyptian mythology is usually Apep. Because here you're going to be seeing that Set is going to be kind of the villain, but in different iterations of him as a god, even he is known to stand up to Apep, or he is the opponent of Apep. So hold on, my VPet is demanding food. My little bear. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Idol, hello. Will we see Bastet? I don't know yet, actually. I haven't, this is actually a blind watch along for me. Then you got Chistika. I know a little bit about Ma'at, but she's almost like the concept of negative entropy, but given personality and motive. Yeah, that's the case with a lot of these gods, is that each of the gods is like an anthropomorphization of like certain concepts. And you also see that with like Greek religion and so many other like religions out there. But like Shu and Tefnut, for example, are the moisture and the air. Geb and Nut are the land and the sky. Osiris, he's sometimes seen as like both the embodiment of and the god of fertility. Isis is the same with magic. Nephthys is the night and grieving time. Set is chaos, but oddly enough, like not the same chaos as like Apep, right? So Set kills his brother. Actually, the story is kind of funny how he does it. They don't put that in this version, but the story is that like apparently Set throws a party for Osiris, and Set shows Osiris this coffin that was built especially to fit Osiris in it, and he challenges everyone in the party, saying that like, oh, I bet none of you can fit into this coffin, and whoever fits into this coffin is the winner. He doesn't say what he's the winner of, but like, but Set like shows that challenge, and then Osiris, he's like, oh, I wonder if I could fit in it. He goes into the coffin, fits perfectly in it. Set proceeds to close the coffin on him and throw the coffin into the Nile. And every time I tell this story, I'm always like, why did no one else in the party notice this? Because at no point in the story does like anyone try to stop him. like do you think like Osiris went into the coffin and then people just started clapping and then they dispersed and then Set is like, ha, got you, idiot, and then like just threw the coffin into the Nile? Or do you think like they all saw Set do that and they just did nothing? Right? I stopped following after Battle City. No, this one's cooler. This is the prequel. So that had happened. The coffin that Osiris is in, eventually I think Osiris does die. They just stood there. They just stood there like NPCs. They're like, I wonder what's gonna happen next. Is this a magic trick? What are they gonna do? Dude's a god. That maybe that's the point too, of like, they're just fooling around. Those two brothers, you know, they love to fool around, those two. So the coffin floats throughout the Nile, and then eventually the coffin ends up on dry land, but then it gets surrounded by a tree. Like a tree grows around the coffin, and by this point I think Osiris is already dead. Isis, the wife of Osiris, goes and finds the coffin within the tree, and she removes the coffin, but for whatever reason, she has to like go back home, or she has to like go away, basically. She goes away for a little bit, which gives Set enough time to find the coffin, and he basically chops up Osiris's body into pieces, and he scatters those pieces all across Egypt. Here in the film, they just show it as kind of like a battle, and Osiris dies and he gets chopped up and stuff. And then the thing that you also saw in this film is that there is one piece of Osiris that was never able to be recovered, because Isis and Nephthys, they both try to find all the pieces of Osiris's body. They find everything except for one piece. That's right, the one piece. It's real. But the one piece got swallowed by a fish. And that was his penis. That was his phallus, you know? So it was a party of two. Exactly. It's like, can you imagine? It's literally just a party with just Set and Osiris. Impossible. Hello. The penis. Exactly. So the one piece is a penis. Exactly. You guys get it. You guys get it. So Isis and Nephthys, they find all the pieces. They put him back together with magic, but also by like wrapping his body so that he essentially becomes the first mummy. And so this is the part that's on the screen right now. Is Isis revives her husband with magic, and she also creates a magic replacement for his phallus, a magic penis, if you will. And they do the thing, they have the sex one more time. One last time. One last time. And the One Piece is real. It's some dude's cock. So this is where we're coming back to the story. So we're at 1650 right now. I'm gonna go ahead and press play for you guys to follow along, and then let's see what happens from here. And I'll stop it the next time I have more to yap about. Did she customize it? Maybe. Can you imagine Osiris just like, oh hey, why is that magic penis shape different? It's kind of ribbed. Anyway, let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead and press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, sorry. There we go. There's a timestamp. It really is the same sex scene from earlier. She's covering his eyes. She's like, peekaboo! Peekaboo! They embraced. There you go. I gave you guys a spoiler. Oh, Jesus! She turned into a bird. Which she does do occasionally. That is another ISIS thing, is that she's associated with birds called kites. But can you imagine just going at it and your gal just goes, caw. I wonder if they're gonna do the lettuce story. I don't think she make that. At the peak of Phoenix is suddenly sitting. The Phoenix is just shrieking. Caw. She's a cow now. Oh, the bull is sometimes associated with Newt, who is the sky goddess. And when you see art of Newt, she's usually shown with like stars as her body. And there's an interesting thing that happens with Egyptian mythology and a lot of other mythologies, in that like sometimes gods get kind of like mixed and matched together, sometimes combined, sometimes other things. So here we're seeing Isis, but she's also being kind of mixed with motifs, with like symbols that you would see with other goddesses like Hathor. Hathor was like a moon goddess. Or no. A cow goddess. I thought too much about like the sound that cows make. And we have Horus the Younger. So Horus the Elder was the 5th child that Newt gave birth to, who we don't really see anymore, but now you have Horus the Younger. And if you ever see in Egyptian art, children are usually shown with what's called a side lock. It's just like a hairstyle that only kids have. A snake? Gotta love the reused animation. But then again, yeah, like the comment section was saying like how like ambitious this kind of animation is, so I think they should reuse the animation. Yeah, so don't question why the human boy became a man with a bird head. That's just how it be sometimes. Comment section. So now that Osiris is dead, Horus has become he's the one that presides over Kemet, or the fertile land. Oh my god, I'm definitely gonna pause this to talk a little bit more about this fight. Ew, he's licking the eye. He's licking the eye. Imagine being born and your parents can't think of another name, so they're just like, let's just reuse Horace again. Exactly. When that happens, a god did it. So yeah, there's a lot of Egyptian stories called the Contendings of Horus and Set, and it's basically just like a collection of their fights. I feel like they're gonna leave out the part where Horus also like essentially like kills his own mom, but she's also the goddess of magic, so like so she doesn't stay dead. I don't think she kills her. I have to like look back at that story. I don't think they're gonna do the lettuce story, but if you guys want me to retell it for like the 5th time on stream, I'm down. Cause that one's a wild story. Yeah, the Contendings of Horus and Set, they like all of the stories where they fight are really entertaining. Just like the multiverse, remember when he fought him as a hippo? Well, he fought him as a jackal. A jackal? Jackal? Is it a jackal? Jackal. Whoa, this animation's wild. Zako, hello. Thank you for the raid. Hello, hello. Nice, you're making some miniatures? Hello. We're doing a watch along right now. If you want to follow along, the link is in the pinned comment, and we're currently at 22 minutes. Thoth. Hello, hello. This film is like retro vibes, but also Egyptian mythology. Colorblind people in shambles. Oh, it is green red. Yeah, actually. Oh no. I hope I hope it's still visible against like the black background. Hello, Hafnium Crystallizer. Welcome, welcome. I'm Babinko Bear. I don't usually look this Egyptian, but you know, we're watching an Egyptian themed educational film, so I thought it'd be apt, you know. Okay, I think I will pause it here to go a little bit more into the contendings of Horus and Set because stop right now. 2411. Curse of Ra, exactly. So what we just saw right now is that Horus was conceived through Isis and Osiris's last union, you know? So he was conceived, and then he grew up. He knew about the story of like how his father was killed, and then they had many contendings, as in they had a lot of battles with each other. So yeah, hello raiders, hello. Well, thank you again for the raid, Zalko. If you need to do some post stream care, no worries at all. Same with everyone that came with you. We're just doing our watch along right now. Excuse me. So yeah, the contendings are interesting stories because they go back and forth. If you're able to find the actual like scroll or like the actual papyrus where the story is, it's really interesting, and like the translation for it, because there are times where Horus is like, he's supposed to be the heroic figure, but he's not always the heroic figure, and they kind of conveniently left that out of this because it is meant to be educational, right? And they definitely want to like go on with the narrative that like Horus is the hero, Set is the villain, and for the most part, yes, that's true. But there is one story in which there's one story that they kind of hinted at here, and it's one where they shapeshift against each other. So like the Horus and Set, they shapeshift and eventually they become hippos. And the challenge when they're hippos is to see who can hold their breath the longest under the Nile. So Isis is the Horus's mom. Isis is watching this entire battle, and she tries to help Horus essentially cheat. So what she does is, if I'm remembering the story correctly, she takes a spear and she throws it into the river, but instead of hitting Set, she accidentally hits Horus. And Horus gets angry, so he gets up from the water and I forgot if he kills his mom or if he like mutilates her in some way. He somehow harms her. And it's just like one of those moments of like, what the heck? like she messed up, but why did you have to do that? And Set actually gets mad because like despite everything that happened, that's still his sister. So there's even a part in the papyrus where he's like, how dare you? like he's like, how dare you kill my sister, who is also your mother, by the way. Or like I said, I don't remember if he kills her or if he mutilates her, but because she's the goddess of magic, she obviously doesn't stay dead, or she doesn't stay mutilated, but she is kind of heartbroken. But yeah, they left that story out, probably because of this narrative that like he's supposed to be the hero, you know, he's supposed to be the chosen one. And the whole like contendings of Horus and Set too is also kind of like a meta conversation of like, should a king die, should a pharaoh die, does the throne go to his brother or does it go to his son, like his next of kin, right? So this whole story is also kind of like a political story in which like, oh, Horus is the victor here, so that means in real life that once a pharaoh dies, it should go to his son, it shouldn't go to like his siblings. So that was like, this is one of the stories that was kind of used in that kind of like political motivation. And then the infamous lettuce story is one of my favorites to tell because it's just so wild, it's just so raunchy. So I will give you guys a content warning though, because it does go into basically sexual assault, incest, mutilation, and all of that messed up stuff. So I think it's gonna take me about like 5 to 10 minutes to tell that story, but feel free if you want to like mute me. So tired of this Horus propaganda. But yeah, just know that the story includes that. Feel free to come back in about 5 minutes. But so the story goes as this. This is another one of the contendings between Horus and Set. So Set wants to, is it about the devil's lettuce? No, even better. Like, lettuce. Horus and Set are the world's most effed up yaoi. It kind of is. And the thing is, they are also uncle and nephew. so that also makes it like even more messed up. Do tell. Wait, did I miss? Oh, we have a, let's see. Hello, May Shark. Hello. When we were talking spirits, we did the Hekia from the Igbo, which means the warding away of spirits. Ah, okay. Cool. So yeah, so to tell the story, the lettuce story, one night, Set goes into Horus's house and he attempts to essentially sexually assault him. He puts his thing in between Horus's legs as he's sleeping with the attempt to like assault him, right? But Horus knows what's up. And when Set finishes, he thinks he's finishing inside of Horus, but Horus actually cupped his hands and he actually catches the liquid. He catches the fluid in his hands. So Set thinks that he just like did the deed, and then he goes away. So Horus now has his hands full of the fluid, and the first thing he does is he goes to his mother. He goes to Isis and he's like, "Mother, look what Set did." And Isis reacts pretty badly. She shrieks, she screams, she takes a dagger and she cuts off Horus's hands. She cuts it off and she throws the hands and the liquid into the Nile. But that's not it. That's not all. She tells her son, Horus, what I need you to do is I need you to now do the deed, but we're gonna do it onto Set's favorite food. So let's go over to the farm right now. We're gonna ask this farmer, hey, what is Set's favorite food? And the farmer's like, oh, he loves lettuce. He loves the lettuce. So Isis is like, okay, let's go over to that lettuce. Horus, I'm gonna need you to do the thing. I'm gonna need you to jork it, and by it I mean your peanuts. He does a thing, the fluid goes into the lettuce. The next day, Set wants himself a hearty meal. He eats the lettuce, and he thinks that all is great. He successfully proved his power over Horus. He had himself a good meal. All is good in the world. So after that, thank you, Beans. So after that, there is a divine godly court that is called in order to decide who is going to take over Osiris's throne. Is it going to be Horus or is it going to be Set? And Set, he goes up to the other gods and he's like, I should be the king of the gods. I should take over the throne because I have conquered Horus. And for proof, I will tell you that I did the deed inside of him. So he's weak because he let me do that. And then Horus is like, oh yeah, well, I want you to use your godly powers to summon your seed and see where it comes from. So through some godly Egyptian magic, they call out to Set's seed and they say like, oh, Set's seed, come forth. It doesn't come from Horus, it comes from the Nile River, because you want to remember that Horus's hands got cut off and Isis tossed them in the river. By the way, she's the goddess of magic, so I assume she just grew the arms back, but you know, whatever. So the seed calls out from the Nile River. So already Set is like, okay, that's weird. Horus hits back with, oh, you know what? Well, now I want to summon my seed. So Horus summons his seed. It comes out from Set's mouth. It comes out from his mouth and it circles him and it settles into an orb on top of Set's head. So he now has an orb of fluid on top of his head. The gods see this, and once they finish, I want to assume that they're probably laughing at him. Once they finish laughing at him, they proclaim that Horus is the king of the gods, that he has won the throne, not just through like force, but through like his cunning, right? Even though it was kind of Isis's idea, but whatever. Whatever, we're not gonna stress ourselves over details and whatnot. So that's kind of like one of the final chapters of like the contendings of Horus and Set, because it's basically the god saying that like, oh yeah, this guy proved his point. I'm pretty sure he's the winner at this point. So that is the lettuce story, and now we have Horus, who is crowned the first pharaoh of Egypt. So I hope you enjoyed that story. We're only 24 minutes in. Do tell. See, I've seen the Eye of Horus. I've seen some of the Magna Carta. I was flipping bricks from Mansa Musa before y'all even became a Type 1 civilization. Not the lettuce. Let's see. It sounds like Quetzalcoatl. Are you referring to Quetzalcoatl, the Aztec, the feathered serpent? Horse's soul. Yeah, he's holding the sperm. You got the AK receipts. Poor innocent lettuce. I'm a Horus, and you're watching Jackass. That's petty. How can he work with no hands? I think his mom just like magicked the hands back. Bro doesn't wash his lettuce. The godly magic. The mic drop right in front of my oh my god. Not even in front of his salad, it's on the salad. It's on the salad. Right in front of my salad, right on my salad. You gotta have some sympathy for Set at this point, because it's like, oh, poor guy. I know he like assaulted his nephew, but he got like thoroughly humiliated, like thoroughly humiliated. But dang, Set does eventually, he does show up in other myths where he's actually defending Horus from like the Chaos Serpent. But yeah, be good death ASMR. Set probably thought it was a ranch. Well, I feel bad F this guy. Yeah. But it's also because like he also the assault is inexcusable, but also he got dealt a pretty bad like he's the god of the desert, he's the god of chaos and thieves. He's also the god of foreigners, by the way. The Egyptians decided that they wanted to associate foreigners with like the bad guy. Bro assaulted his nephew. Why would I feel bad? This is a good point. I know, it's like, damn, can you imagine like, oh hi, I'm a foreigner, I'd like to emigrate and live here in Egypt. Who's my patron deity? The Egyptians are like, oh, the guy that ate semen. Like, Yeah, he did also kill his brother. He did also kill his brother. So yeah, you shouldn't feel bad for him, but I just think it's funny. Anyway, so we're at 24 minutes 11 seconds. Let's go ahead and continue this watch along. If you guys are following along, go ahead and click on the link in the pinned chat message. And we're gonna start up again. I'm gonna click play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Sorry, I was eating din din. So yeah, Osiris is now the Lord of the Dead. And that ceremony they did, the opening of the mouth, is an actual ceremony that they would do for mummies. Yeah, the two ladies that are like on either side of Osiris are Nephthys and Isis, and they're usually shown together. The main way that you can tell them apart is the symbol on top of their head. I think Isis is the one on the left with like the throne, and then I forget what symbol is on top of Nephthys's head. Oh, the Divine Mother of Night is Newt, by the way. That is exactly what you think it is, by the way. So they believe that when the sun set, it was like a well, the sun they believe was traveling on a bark or like a boat, and at night it would go through the underworld, but it would also simultaneously go through the body of Newt. So yeah, I'll see if they. Ooh, we're already at part 2, the noon, the year of the king. I feel like this might go through like what happens at night when the sun goes through the underworld, but let's see. Because that's also a pretty cool story. It like the sun basically goes through like 12 different doors, I think. I'm actually not sure what this is. Oh, it's Kepri. When he has the beetle head, he's Kepri, who is the god of the rising sun. And then I think with the two feathers on his head, I think that's is that Atum? I'm actually not 100% sure. Or Amun. I think that's Amun. I'm actually not familiar with what story this is. But we'll find out. We'll find out. Whoa, this is trippy. I wonder if this is, I guess, taken from a prayer? Like a queen's prayer? I'm gonna mute for a second, but you guys can keep on watching. Geese. POV, you're at like a family party and they tell you to like kiss your older relatives. Like, give us a kiss. POV, your aunt turns into a cow with a sun on her head. You know, it just happens. Oh, this is the first time I think it isn't like a black background. Cow's like, hey yo, back off. You're too close, man. The mysteries. What kind of mysteries? That's what I'm wondering. I want to learn the mysteries. Magnets! How do they work? That's a big papyrus. No, I'm just kidding. Those are pillars. Not pillar men. Oh. They're saying Heper? Heperu? Like I said, I only know the name of Kepri. I feel like that probably has the same like root, right? And if Kepri is the god of the rising sun, maybe they're saying like to rise. The passions. Bug. I guess this is like a young pharaoh like growing up and learning about all the things. Because one big thing too with Horus becoming like Lord of the Gods is he also becomes like the protector of the pharaohs. So whenever a pharaoh comes to power, he usually says that he's like the son of Horus or that he's protected by Horus. Where he learns about the lettuce story. That's right. Every young pharaoh has that day where the priest tells them about the story and the young pharaoh's just like, for real? Like, he's just like, so then why are you giving me the salad? I feel like the scene of Set just doing tok and like Osiris just breaks into pieces. I feel like that would be an amazing reaction gif. And if no one else makes it, I'm gonna make it. It's like get scattered across the Nile. Tok. Okay, now they like zoom out and he's just like, really? Lettuce? But why? So when it comes to gods, you can usually tell who they are based off like what symbols they have, usually on their head. So this guy's wearing like a double plume, like it's actually supposed to be two feathers, but he also has like a sun disk on top. So they say that he's Ra, but I also feel like there's another god called Amun who sometimes gets combined with Ra, and they're known as Amun Ra. And then sometimes Horus is also combined with this deity as well, and his name becomes Ra Harakti. Blessed. So yeah, so the pharaoh is usually like I said, he usually claims to be either the son of Ra, or sorry, the son of Horus, or he's protected by Horus. And in some cases he also embodies Horus. He has a fancy crown, you see. Oh, that crown is like, if you study Egyptian history, you'll see that crown a lot. It's a combination crown. So that white part that looks like a bowling pin is the crown of Upper Egypt, which is actually south. And no, wait. Yeah. The white one is Upper Egypt. The red one underneath that is the crown of Lower Egypt, which is actually north. It's actually closer to the like where the Nile splits into a delta. So Upper Egypt is south, Lower Egypt is north. Just remember that. And the reason for that is because the way that the Nile flows, it actually flows from south to north. There you go. You're back. What'd you miss? Did you also watch the video? We actually watched it during the ad break. But the Gargora video. Anyway, what you missed? There was a lot of sex and masturbation, and and the best part is I'm not kidding. But they made it very poetic in this film. They didn't overtly say it. They made it very symbolic, very poetic. Now we're seeing a pharaoh, you know, ascend to power, essentially. Squid! You squid. So yeah, the journey of the sun throughout the day, like from the east going over to the west. I love that the hippo's just walking. Like he's not swimming, he's just walking, which I think IRL that is what hippos do. They don't actually swim, they just walk. No, they're gonna hurt it. No. So yeah, the journey of the sun throughout the sky is usually seen as the sun on a bark or a boat, essentially. Babinka Beer is very family-friendly, wholesome stream, educational, fun for the whole family. Exactly. Exactly. Don't show this to your family, but exactly. Like, wow, this bear she just keeps talking about lettuce. Oh no, it's set. It just bugs me a little why they keep saying cornfield, because I'm pretty sure they didn't have corn. They had wheat. They really could have just said wheat, but because corn is very specific to the Americas, you know? They had wheat and they had barley, and they would use that to make bread and beer. You know, it's kind of one of their staples. And they drink a lot of beer. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Waiter, there's coom in my lettuce. Beerka. It's funny because I'm not actually much of a beer drinker, but there is one type of beer I like. It's like a Taiwanese beer. Just like that, the pharaoh's dead. Poor guy. Never had a chance. I guess this is mostly just going over like what is not expected of the pharaoh, but almost like the life cycle of like the pharaoh's born, you know, the queen mother is blessed by Nephthys and Isis, and then he learns the secrets and he dies just as Osiris died, and he becomes embalmed. And oh, we have an ad break coming up. Actually, let me go ahead and pause it here at 43:27 because we do have an ad break. And I do also want to talk a little bit about Anubis when we get back, because he is a doggy. He's a cool doggy, but there's also different stories about who his parents are. So I'll leave you guys on that tantalizing note while I put you in recess. There we go. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. I may be Egyptian for now, but I am still watching you with my cool eye, you see. It was quick IRL as well, isn't it? Wasn't King Tut like 13 years old? It depends, because yeah, King Tut, he died very young. And the reason why he's famous is basically because his tomb was found in like mint condition, essentially. But there's also Pharaoh Ramses the Great, who lived for like, I think like 80 years? Or he either reigned for 80 years and lived 90 years. And he like fathered hundreds of children. Itasha crying time, exactly. So I'll get more into that after the ad break, but I'll see you guys in a little bit. We're back. But give me some seconds because I'm still crunching my food. I'm grazing. Why would you assume? Why would you assume that I'm crunching the lettuce? Crunch, crunch. But okay, we're back. We're back. What was I saying? Where are we at right now? Oh yeah, so Anubis. Anubis is an interesting figure because he is. Sometimes people translate his name as like his title as like the god of death. Not really. He's not really the god of death. Because there's different death gods. Like Osiris is the lord of the dead. He like presides over the dead. Anubis is more so the god of embalming, and embalming is basically like preparing the body for death and for mummification. So he's the guy that is like presiding over that. He's the one who's like guiding the embalmers to like prepare the body, which usually means like sucking out all the, okay, they don't like suck it out, but they put like salt basically on the body, which absorbs all of the moisture from the body. So after the body's dried out, that's when it gets wrapped in like the bandages, the cloth bandages, and all the amulets and stuff. There's actually a really cool video, let me see if I can get it right now, about like the whole mummification process. And it's by these guys that did it to a chicken. Because they kind of did it with the intent of like, you know, there's that Victorian history of people who like literally ate mummies. If you haven't heard about that, that's kind of just a wild part of like Victorian history. People ate mummies. So they kind of wanted to see what would happen if they like essentially mummified a chicken and tried to eat it. But spoiler alert, in the end, they didn't end up doing it. Just because they like know the process that went into it, and they're like, that's kind of weird, that's kind of gross. And they also ended up getting really attached to the chicken that they were mummifying, so it was actually like a pretty wholesome story. But let me see if I can find it, because the video also does a really good job of going over just the whole process of mummification, including like what kind of bandages they use, what kind of like materials they use. So mummified chicken. It's called Is Egyptian Mummy Yummy? No. I'll put it in the chat, but I won't be able to pin it because I do want to keep the movie pinned for now. But if you guys want to check it out, it's cool. It's perfectly recreating Egyptian mummification to taste it. And spoiler alert, they taste something else. But they don't taste like the mummified chicken. But it's an interesting video nonetheless. So we're back to Anubis. So he's the god of that. He's the god of embalming. He's usually shown with a jackal head, and one of the theories as to why that is because the Egyptians would observe like real life jackals stalking around in the desert, right? And back then, or especially if you were poor, you usually didn't mummify your loved ones. You probably just like buried them off in the desert, where they're kind of like with salt. The desert sand would kind of absorb all the moisture inside the corpse and essentially like mummify it. Jackal! Jackal! Is it a jackal? Jackal! Exactly, George. So, but basically people were burying their dead in the desert. which is where the jackals live. So jackals, just doing their biological thing of like looking for food and sniffing it out, they would find the corpses and they would consume it, right? But the Egyptians, they would also see this as like, oh, the jackals are like finding the bodies, and they're usually found around bodies. So they started associating these jackals with death and even being messengers of death. So like not necessarily delivering death to other people, but when the dead have died, their souls are guided to the underworld with jackals. So that kind of evolved into the god of embalming, the god of, like one of the gods of death, becoming like a jackal-headed god. So that's Anubis. So Anubis is known for being the god of embalming, but he's also known as what's called a psychopomp, which is basically just a fancy term for someone who guides the dead into the underworld. So in Greek mythology, for example, like Mercury or Hermes is a psychopomp. He guides the souls, the dead souls, into the underworld. So Schnackery's here. He's meowing. And the last thing I'll say about Anubis, because I also think this part is pretty interesting, is Anubis, he is for sure the son of Nephthys. And if you guys remember Nephthys, she is one of the 5 children that Nut gave birth to. And she's also wife to Set. So, meow meow. So, one would think that Anubis is the child of Set and Nephthys. And that's also my personal headcanon. I want to believe that he's the son of like Set and Nephthys. However, one version of the mythology is that Nephthys cheated on Set and had her baby with Osiris. So there's a version that says that Osiris is actually Anubis's father. So yeah, for me it makes more sense that it's Set because they both have weird heads. Is that like, because Set has like a mystery animal head and Anubis has like a jackal like animal head. But yeah, so that's the deal with that. And there was one other thing I wanted to get into before we continued. Oh yeah, so we were talking about like the life cycle, the like lifespan of like pharaohs. So it varies definitely because King Tut did die when he was like I think 13 or 15. He was just a kid essentially. But he came right after one of the most like controversial reigns of a pharaoh, and that was because he's the son of a pharaoh named Akhenaten. Akhenaten was controversial because Egypt for millennia, for thousands of years, believed in multiple gods, right? Akhenaten was one of the first pharaohs to believe in one god, but also make it be the state religion. And a lot of people didn't like that. So they saw that as like a heresy. It'd be the equivalent if like the Pope was just like, oh yeah, we summon multiple, or not summon, we worship multiple gods now. We don't just worship the one god, we worship multiple now. So like, if you imagine what that reaction would be like from, like, the populace, the outrage, that's basically what happened to Akhenaten. So he, like, he had followers, but for the most part, a lot of people wanted him dead. He ended up dead. And his son, or one of his many children, was Tutankhamun, King Tut. And actually, his name used to be Tutankhaten. His name used to mean like the living, I think it's something like the living image of the Aten, which is the one god that that Akhenaten like worshipped. But he eventually renamed himself to Tutankhamun, the living image of Amun, which is another one of like the older gods. So even though King Tut himself probably like also worshipped the multiple gods, he's associated with his father, who is kind of this heretic king. So he died at an early age. We don't know for sure how or why, but I feel like most likely it was because of the association with his dad. But the reason why King Tut is so famous, especially compared to other pharaohs, wasn't necessarily what he did in life, but rather the state of his tomb. So a lot of pharaohs, their tombs were robbed like almost immediately after they were buried by like tomb robbers who wanted to make like money and stuff. And it's fair to assume that these tomb robbers came in like the Victorian era, but no, this is like still during ancient Egyptian times. Like, you know, the body wasn't even cold and someone was probably robbing that tomb because it was filled to the brim with like royal jewels and gold and like all these valuable things. So of course people are going to be robbing it, right? The one exception was Tutankhamun's, King Tut's tomb. It was hidden away so well that when archaeologists finally found it, it was almost in mint condition. Like, it hadn't been ransacked, no one robbed it. So this was one of the first times that archaeologists were able to see what an Egyptian tomb looked like without it being robbed, like, you know, as soon as the body was basically cold. So that's one of the reasons why he's famous. Not because he did anything like really cool in life, unfortunately, because he was just a teenager. But because like his tomb was like found in mint condition, because there are definitely other pharaohs who did like a lot. For example, Queen Hatshepsut is one of them. Queen Hatshepsut is like the female pharaoh who like you know, normally women didn't become pharaohs unless they became like the regent. And what a regent is if a pharaoh dies and his next of kin, his child, is too young, usually the wife will rule as quote unquote regent until the younger king comes of age. So Hatshepsut was that, but she also did all these building projects. I don't remember if she also went into like wars and stuff, but yeah. And then in terms of like long-lived pharaohs, there's Ramses the Great, who I forget if he lived to be like 80 or 90, but he fathered like hundreds of kids and he like built all these like really cool temples and stuff. So yeah, so it varies. Some kings don't live that long because of politics and people murdering them, but some kings live a very long time. So yeah. But with that, let's go ahead and continue our watch along. I be yapping too much. But we're over here at 43 minutes 27 seconds, and I'm gonna click play in 3, 2, 1, play. They're going over the mummification process now. So yeah, they would, I mentioned that they would dehydrate the body, but they would also take out all the organs. And they're putting each organ inside of these, what's called canopic jars. And each of the jars is named after what's called a son of Horus. I don't know the mythology of it, but happy. Happy. I don't know the mythology, but Horus is said to have 4 sons. They all have different heads for some reason. And those are the heads you see on the canopic jars. Imseti. I'll never forget reading in the textbook how they took the brain out through the nose with a hook. Yeah, they scrambled it. They quite literally did a brain scramble. They put the hook through the nose, they scrambled the brain, and they pulled it out through the nose. I think one reason for that is Egyptians did believe that the state that your body was in reflected how the state your body would be in the afterlife. So if you cut open someone's head to remove the brain, then they're gonna their head is gonna be like swinging open in the afterlife. Give me a nightmare. Oh no! Yeah, I remember always telling kids that like, well, I know it doesn't make it any better, but they would only do it when you're dead. So but yeah, I imagine lots of my students too would probably be like, oh jeez. So you might be asking now, if the Egyptians believed that the state of their body would reflect how they would be in the afterlife, why did they remove the organs, right? Because then doesn't that mean that you don't have like a stomach or a brain in the afterlife? For one, the Egyptians assumed that the core of your personality wasn't in the brain, it was in your heart, and they would preserve the heart in the canopic jars. And then your organs would also be in the canopic jars. So they would go with you, but they wouldn't be in your body. And I suspect that this is because it just made sense in the mummification process to not have the organs. Because if you have the organs, that would actually, like, there's more of a possibility of them either getting infected or rotting away. And that would affect the overall mummification. So if you take out the organs, then that actually, like, increases the chances of the mummification being successful and, like, preserving the body. So that just meant that you had to take out the organs. But at least you have your stomach in a handy jar. So when you're in the afterlife, you just be like, "Oh, let me just get it out of my cool little jar here." Mm. They're doing the opening of the mouth ceremony. Put in testament to give me a liposuction. Can you imagine? Like spiritual surgery. My little organ trinket jars. Exactly. So the opening of the mouth ceremony was this ceremony of like so that if they opened the mouth through this like ritual, it meant that you could talk and stuff in the afterlife. So if someone died and they didn't have that ceremony, it's believed that they couldn't talk in the afterlife. Ah, so they are going to talk about it. So yeah, the sun's journey throughout the sky is usually seen as like the sun on this boat. But during night, what happens to it, right? So it goes over the horizon. And two things basically happen. So one version of the mythology is that he goes Ra, the sun god, in his boat. He goes through the underworld, and the underworld has like I think like 10 or 12 gates, and each of the gates has something wild on the other side of it. Sailing the same boat, suns. You're with me, not alone. Uh-oh, my headphones came off. There we go. So he enters the underworld, but at the same time, he thinking hard of Ra. He also enters Newt, the Sky Mother. He enters her body, so she swallows him up, and the next day he gets born again through her vajayjay. Um, and the Egyptians didn't see this as two separate stories; they saw it as the same story. So like the underworld isn't necessarily Nut's body, but simultaneously he's going through the underworld and within the body of Newt. Ah, so I said that the uh, scarab beetle was a symbol of like the rising sun. That's also seen as like an aspect of Ra. So when the sun is setting, he starts to have a ram's head, and that's the symbol of the setting sun. So beetle is the rising sun, Ra himself is the sun itself, and then the ram's head is the setting sun. I just forgot his name. He has like a specific name when he becomes the setting sun. How did flame face? Sounds more like an insult. Hey, flame face. I know your name. You're actually going to see that theme quite a bit when it comes to Egyptian mythos, is that like knowing their name gives you power over them. So it's a lot of like, demon, I know your name. Ah, so yeah, we're going through the different gates of the underworld. So a lot of it is going to be people being like, I know your name, let me through. Whoa, this is a freaky effect. I wonder if they're going to go through the afterlife in this one. By the way, in Egyptian art, whenever you see figures that are like horizontal like that, it usually implies that they're dead. Especially if they're in like a group like that, it usually means that they're like conquered and dead. So you usually see that in like war scenes. The place of destruction. You mean the Waffle House? Exactly. They're gonna go, they're destined for the Waffle House. Especially at 2 in the morning. With a bottle of, I'm gonna say, really bad vodka. Like, not the good kind. Like the Smirnoff, but there's no flavor. Damn, they got rotated. Poor guys. Never had a chance. Sick lake, bro. What if you're mid? If it's like refreshment to like good people and it's like destruction to the bad people, what if you're like aggressively mid, you know? Is it spicy? Is it hot sauce, you think? Oh my god, they're going over Los Bincos. The mysterious region with earthquakes. It's Los Bincos. It's me yesterday. He's going over America, the American Southwest. It's us, the mysterious region. God, these animations are so pretty. Dang, that scary beetle got legs for days. Oh, it's the Chaos Serpent. So Apep is like it's the real villain. I know Set murdered his brother and assaulted his nephew and did a lot of bad things, but but the real villain was the friends we made along the way. I mean, Apep. It's Apep. Oh, look at all the Anubises. Jackal. Is it a jackal? Jackal. Jackal. This sounds like something you'd see in like Dante's Inferno, where it's like, if you're sinful, you're gonna have to swallow a bunch of, I guess, snakes. Oh, that's interesting. So the sun rays, that's actually what Aten looks like. The one god that the heretic king was worshipping. It looks like a sun disk with like a bunch of hands coming out of it. So the grain coming right from his crotch and going right into the sun. I mean, like I said, a lot of this stuff is very symbolic, right? It's very symbolic, right? But there's just something funny about the about the like, is that a piece of grain growing from you, god of fertility, or are you just happy to see me? Egyptian mythos out of context. God, these animations are so fluid. They're so fluid. It's like Sakuga. It's like anime, like action animation. Oh, oh no. The justified dead. It's me when I haven't eaten all day. It's me being like, ooh, piece of candy. Piece of salmon. There's a lot of symbolism in this part with like snakes and fire. I haven't seen one ice snake yet, you know? The Egyptians need to update their mythos a little bit, with especially with all the RPG games coming out nowadays, you know? We need like a grass snake. Maybe an ice snake, maybe a water snake, maybe a bug type snake. A fairy snake, mayhaps, perhaps. Oh yeah, so the cycle of like the sun going through the underworld too. Another part of it is this idea of like rebirth as well. We gotta modernize. Can we get a vaccine virus and data snake? Exactly. So there's also this theme of like death and rebirth. So like another thing is like Ra would also die during this process, but then become reborn. Oh, I think they're going through the afterlife now. Behetwif. Setwit noof. Setwit noof. Pretty excited to go into the afterlife and see a snake just like with a knife trying to shank me. Death and Rebirth Evangelion reference? You betcha. Can you imagine dying and the first thing you see is like just a bunch of animals with knives? They're just like, gonna cut you so bad. You're gonna wish we didn't cut you so bad. They are going through. Okay. I'm gonna pause. This might actually be the last pause of the video, but we're gonna pause it right now. We're at an hour, 2 minutes, and 18 seconds. So I think this last part is gonna go over what you find in what's called the Book of the Dead. So the Book of the Dead, it sounds like this like intimidating tome of like, you know, how to curse people and stuff, but it's actually the opposite. It's basically an instruction guide on how the dead will get through the afterlife, because before they get to enjoy afterlife, they have to go through a bunch of trials. So the first of the trials was what we just saw. There's going to be like guardians who are going to like try to shank you essentially, and you have to like speak the magic words to let yourself through. All you do is wear at them and they let you pass. Exactly. See? This is what you learn in the Book of the Dead. They tell you to just tell them where. The cows taking off their hooves like that one deer gives so they can better shake you. Exactly. They take off their hooves and they just have fingers, and the fingers are just picking up knives. So this next part, there's a whole hall of gods, and they all specialize in exactly one sin or one like wrongdoing, and you have to go up to them and tell them like, I have never stolen. I have never killed anyone. I have never committed adultery. I have never cheated on a test. I've never stolen an eraser off of my classmate. I have never, like, they're all like, you know, oddly specific. So you have to go up to them and you have to tell them that you have never done that. In the case of which, you know, no one's perfect. Nobody's nerfect. Some of you might have done some, you know, some little hee-hee-ha-has. Alpaca says, hi, Beans. Are you okay?
Hello.
Oh no!
Choking on lettuce.
Oh no! Not the lettuce. Yeah, so he's fine. He's fine. He's just coughing out some I didn't want to mention it, but we are in fact eating salads right now. Especially since we were just talking about lettuce. I promise you it doesn't have anything extra on it. It's just salad. Right in front of my salad. No, there's no cum lettuce. But yeah, so let's say that you go to the afterlife, and let's say that you have committed a couple of sins here and there, you know? Let's say that you did cheat on a test once. Let's say that you did, you know, kill a person, no biggie, right? So they have amulets for that. The only thing is that you have to have that made while you were still alive, you know? But it's like, if you have those amulets, it's almost like a get out of jail free card, where I don't know if it goes over it here, but it's almost like you're like, oh yeah, I totally killed someone, but I have this cool amulet, and the gods are like, okay, you're cool then. So let's go ahead and continue on. It looks like we only have like 8-9 minutes left in the film, so I think it's gonna go over that. I'm hoping that they'll also go over what's called the weighing of the heart. So we'll see if they get to that, but for now, let's go ahead and play. So I'm gonna go ahead and click play. We're at 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 18 seconds. I'm gonna click play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click. It's happening. It's my girl Ma'at. I mean, Amut. So yeah, they weigh your heart on scales. If you were good, then your heart will be lighter than a feather, because the feather represents Ma'at, which is order and justice, and like what Almanta said, like the reverse of entropy. But if you're evil, then your heart will be heavier than the feather, and you'll get eaten by Amut. And Amut was a combination creature. She was like part crocodile, part hippo, part lion. And she devours you, basically. But this guy passed the test, so Horus actually, like, held him by the hand and introduced him to his dad, Osiris, and now this pharaoh is gonna have an eternal afterlife. I've seen that episode of Moon Knight, unfortunately. I will forever be an apologist for Amut. Amut is not a villain. She is a good gal. She's just doing her job. I hate how she's the villain in Moon Knight. She didn't deserve that. She's a good dog. I mean, she's a good demon. Like, oh, that's a sick animation. I like Set just as a hippo. He's just hanging around with his nephew. He's just eating his eye. You know how it is. You know how it be. That is one thing I forgot to mention. So Horus's eye also became a symbol of healing and regeneration. Because yeah, in one of the stories, Set gouges out one of Horus's eye, but because Horus, he's got that good old hack of having a mother that's the goddess of magic, she brings the eye back. So because of that, like, the eye is seen as like the symbol of healing. The eye itself is also seen as a symbol of wholeness, and if you take out a part, it's seen as like a fraction. So if you just show like the eyeball part, like the pupil part, that's like a symbol for like 1/4, essentially. So yeah, now that the sun has traveled through the underworld, aka the body of Newt, the sky goddess, it's gonna rise again in the east. Once it like unveils that final gate, and then as you saw, like, Newt swallowed it, but when the sun rises, she's gonna give birth to it again. Sorry, I didn't mean to pause it. I thought that was like the end, but it wasn't. There's still more. There's still more. No, why does it keep disappearing? There you go. Oh, there you go. Yeah, she's. I think he's about to. The sun is about to be born again. So now he's the beetle again. He's a scarab beetle. Oh, and this is how the movie started. It's a full cycle. Wow. Cool. We've reached the credits. That was awesome. I like that. So I think this is a really good flick to show people learning about ancient Egyptian mythology. Especially maybe students, because they keep it pretty PG-13. They don't they do show a little bit of, wait, Geraldine Pinch, why does that sound, wait, why does that sound familiar? I think I have a book by Geraldine Pinch. Geraldine Pinch. I think I have a book by her. I think she wrote a whole bunch of like Egyptian like mythology books. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. I think this is, okay, the narration was by Tamara Kennedy and Michael McKenzie. Cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at you don't have to follow along at this point. I'm just looking at the credits. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, so I'd say that this is a pretty good like edutainment video, especially something from 1990. Yeah, this is really good. It goes over a lot of like the common mythologies and stories that you hear about when you study Egyptian mythology. Like the contendings of Horus and Set are like kind of a big one. And then also the weighing of the heart, which is like the story of like what happens to you when you die. And yeah, like the Book of the Dead, right? The Book of the Dead is like this big thing of like, this is what you're supposed to do when you die. You're supposed to go up to these gods and you're supposed to say this and that and blah blah blah. So yeah, that's kind of like the biggest things when it comes to like studying Egypt, other than like then you want to go into stuff like the pyramids, which isn't covered here, but it doesn't really need to be covered here. But yeah, I think it was really cool. I like the visuals a lot. Like I said, very retro, you know. Very 90s, early 90s, late 80s, even though it was made in 1990. So I liked it a lot. And it does allow for a lot of opportunities to like pause and just like talk a little bit more about it. If you're teaching it to a class, of course, you want to leave out all the stuff like the lettuce story and the sex, even though it does kind of visually show a little bit of sex, but it doesn't show like, I guess it doesn't show penis and penetration, right? There's just like implications of it. But yeah, I think this is a really good one for like to teach like younger audiences about Egypt. So hopefully you guys enjoy that too. If you have any questions for me, as you can tell by all the times that I paused and the amount of times that I like, or the amount of like time it took for me to like, I don't know, just word vomit all the stuff that I know about Egyptian mythology, I'm really into ancient Egypt. like I literally took a course in college that was called Religion of Ancient Egypt. So there's a lot that I have kind of forgotten, but at the same time there's a lot that I like still remember, and I'm always like down to share. I do want to do like I'm still working on that one educational stream that I've been telling you guys about for like Greek mythology and Digimon. And there are Digimon that are also named after Egyptian gods. There's actually a Sethmon. So I'd also want to do something like that eventually down the line. What if we substituted for something like Horus was the receiving end of Set's initially jammed bottle of Hidden Valley trademark ranch? That'll make it more kid-friendly. It's funny, there is actually a really good video that kind of goes over the contendings of Horus and Set, and but they of course had to censor it, so I think they censored it by saying playing cards instead of, you know, Coom. I'll try to find, I think it's this one. No, not the ads. Give me a second. Yeah, this one. I'll put it in the chat right now. So go ahead and like review it on your own time, but she does a really good job of like going over like what the actual like papyrus says, because I actually tried to track down the exact papyrus that mentions these stories, because I wanted to know like what is being added on by later storytellers and what is like genuine to the papyrus, genuine to like the original sources. And in my opinion, she does like one of the best she does one of the best jobs, because like all of this I was able to find the exact line that she was talking about in the mythos. And she also does like a pretty decent job of like censoring the lettuce story as well, without you like questioning what she means. Papyrus from Undertale, no. I kind of want to see what she says about the hippo story where Horus essentially kills his mom. Let me just listen in. Oh. Oh my god. Okay, so the story goes like this. So Horus and Set are shapeshifting, and then they end up as hippos under the water, and the competition becomes, like I said, who can hold their breath the longest underwater. And Isis tries to help Horus by tossing a harpoon. So she does hit Set, but she also accidentally hits Horus. And when she hits Set, a part of her is remorseful because that's still her brother. So she like kind of apologizes and says like, I'm so sorry, brother, even though she's like trying to help her son. That's kind of the whole point of this challenge. But because she apologizes, that's when Set comes out of the water, and he gets angry at her for not helping him enough and for apologizing to Set. So what he does is he actually beheads her. But once again, because she's the goddess of magic, she's able to like get better. But I think let me continue this. Hey, Mr. Rage, how could you? Oh, so that's how the story goes. Mr. Rage, hello. We've actually reached the end of the watch along. I'm so sorry. You caught us at the tail end of things. But yeah, we watched this really cool film. The link is in the pinned chat message if you want to check it out. But it's a cool film from 1990. It's called The Path of the Sun God, and it has this really cool like retro graphics. It goes over like a lot of Egyptian mythology. So I was just watching a different video that goes over. If you want, I can recount parts of the video if you want. But basically, like one of the biggest stories in Egyptian mythology is this idea of the contendings of Horus and Set, and it's basically these two gods fighting each other. So it's all good. I'm gonna watch it right now. Yeah, go for it. It's pretty cool. But yeah, this story in particular is a funny one because Horus and Set, they've shapeshifted into the form of hippos. They go under the Nile to see who can hold their breath the longest. And Isis, who is the mother of Horus but also the sister of Set, she launches some a lance or a harpoon and accidentally hits both of them. She's trying to help her son, but she accidentally hits her son, and the son gets mad at her and kills her. But they're gods, so she can just revive. But Set is angry because that's still his sister. So he actually goes up to Horus and he plucks his eyes out. So call CPS. So yeah, so you know, there's a lot of like, I hate you, mom kills her. I hate you, nephew. He gouges out his eyes. So there's a lot of stuff that like happens to these gods, but they end up better. They end up fine because I think afterwards another goddess comes over and fixes Horus's eyes. So yeah, Egyptian mythology just be crazy like that. It's just like, crazy. By the way, Mr. H, do you like my new look? My ancient Egyptian look? I'm walking like an Egyptian. Look, watch this. Walking like an Egyptian. I can't go backwards, so I have to moonwalk. I have to moonwalk backwards. There you go. But yeah, so that was Raw, The Path of the Sun God. Smooth AF. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. So yeah, this is pretty much the end of the stream. I will be back. What did I put on my schedule? I'll be back Friday. Let me see what I put on my schedule for Friday. Oh, we're doing art appreciation. We're doing art appreciation. So, yeah, if you guys have any art that you want me to Friday, if you guys have any art that you want me to take a look at, you can either, if you're part of my Discord, you can either put it in the art appreciation channel, or you could just let me know. You can just let me know. And then we'll kind of go from there. I'm excited to talk about some art, and if we don't get too many entries for the next art appreciation, I also have a lot of backup. I also have a lot of things that I personally would like to go through with you guys. Like, we kind of just like off the cuff went through like Kandinsky that one time, remember? So yeah. So let's go ahead and start our thank you for the stream. I'm glad that you guys came over. I'm glad that you guys liked it. If you want me to do more watch alongs like this, I'd be super down. It just has to be something that is freely available on YouTube. If not, then it would have to be a watch along via Discord. So yeah. Thanks for the watch along. Thanks for offering to make that list of food. Yeah, of course. So I'll do it after, once I'm done here with stream. But let's go ahead and mosh now. Thank you. I'm skipping the mosh. See you soon. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Playing a Hololive song for the mosh pit? No, I think I think now might be mayhaps in bad taste. I just got here. You can mosh with us. You can mosh with us. Sorry about that, Mr. Rage. But also, I'm tired. I'm tired. I was at the office today, and I have to go back to the office tomorrow, and on Thursday I have to go to a school site. So, apologies, but that's just how it be. Wait, what am I doing? You know what? I'll fix this another time. I'm just gonna use another browser. Fine. Thanks for the stream. Okay, let's mosh. Let's have the projector out. Oh, oopsie poopsie. Let's make that invisible. Let's make that invisible. You can still mosh with us. There we go. I was watching the Contendings of Horrors instead. Okay, what are we moshing to? Falcone. It is my usual go-to. Until next time, peace and love. Yeah. Thanks again for stopping by, everybody. If you want to stay for the, oh my gosh. Naruto. Oh, you know what? I might want... Is there anything ancient Egyptian? Let's see if there's any Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Metal. I haven't even started playing anything yet. What are you guys already moshing to? Yu-Gi-Oh! Theme song? Remix? Metal and rock? Ooh, we have one that's by Falcone. Okay, once you guys hear the music, go ahead and spam your favorite emotes, and we mosh. Dang it! Not the ad. Okay. Wow, this sounds pretty cool. Mr. Rage, thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Alright, you guys can hear the music, yes? Let me put it up a little louder. Get to moshin'. I'll decide who we're gonna raid into, and then let's have your little guys fight each other. I think it might be fitting to actually raid into Aros. Wait, let's see our options. Yeah, let's do Aros, because he's gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! He's gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And he's always fun to raid into. Oh, it's down to Alpaca versus Sotenbori. Alpaca is the winner. Let's go. And they're already sleeping. They're already sleeping. But you know what? Alpaca, she won the first round, but can she win round 2? Fight. No, Mr. Rage is gonna beat me up. No, it's me versus Mr. Rage. This is just like real life. This is just like real life. This is us when we meet up. We just be moshing. We just... He defeated me! No! This must be rigged. This must be rigged. Let's go! Yo! You did it, Mr. Rage. You did it. Nice. Well, good job, everyone. Good job. Thank you for the mosh. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed. And Mr. Rage, I'll make it up to you. Well, let's hang out next time we're available. We usually have some free weekends, Beans and I. And the person we're gonna raid into, I think you guys will enjoy him. A lot of you already know who this is. This is Aros, the penguin. He's gonna be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, but he's also the master of like just chatting. You know, he be yapping. So we're gonna raid into him. Let's go ahead and go to our outro screen. Out of my way, can't you see he's going to kick my butt? So let's go ahead and raid into Aros. He's a cool guy. And I'll see you guys on Friday for Art Appreciation. So I'm excited for that. But otherwise, let's go raid. I hope you guys have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Bye-bye.